Listen, first of all, we're going to say this. Welcome back.
I know.
And
it's been a while.
live.
We're live.
We're live. Is this a different feel for you?
It is.
Can you hear yourself?
I think.
See, I can hear you.
I think I hear myself.
It's different, and yeah, it's it gives you the opportunity to control the volume and all that good stuff.
Yeah.
So say something now.
Something now.
So I raised your volume. Can you hear yourself now?
Yes, I can.
Does that make a difference?
Yeah, it's just, overall it's a weird feel, but
It is
it's
a
okay.
weird feel. It's just something we've got to get used to because we've never used this stuff. You know what I mean?
I know. Dude,
Yeah.
We've been muddling through this whole
We've been
time.
winging it. It's like, we're better than that.
We're better than this,
We
damn
can
it.
do this, damn it.
I'm thinking to myself, but are we though? Yeah, I think we are, but are we ready? Are we ready
Are we ready for the big time? Is that
Are we
what
ready
this
for
is?
the big time?
I think this is the big time.
Oh man.
We're going to do this. We can do this.
Okay.
And we're live.
Okay.
So one day, I'm going to be adjusting the soundboard here, and I'm going to know what all this means.
But at this point we have
It's like
zero
wildly turning knobs here. It's like, I know this will work.
Listen, you can't turn these knobs like you turn those boobs, okay? That's just not the way it's
Is that not the way it works?
No.
You just, eventually you're going to turn it the right direction.
You can't do that.
No.
It doesn't work for women, it doesn't work for the soundboard.
What do you mean it doesn't work for women?
No, it doesn't work.
Have I been lied to?
Yes.
So the women, when you're playing with them, do they just pretend they like it?
Well, when you do this super hard, you squeeze and you turn.
Yeah.
No one likes that.
Really?
Yeah, no one likes that.
Only guys do.
Only guys like that.
Well, there you have it. Okay. Well, the show, that's all we got for you today, guys.
Wow.
Don't pinch tight and turn. And yeah, I feel like I'm back to the drawing board.
Right? Women know it feels like it's gonna fall off.
So I feel like we need like a big anatomy dummy here.
I know, right?
And we're like, okay, this is what we're gonna do. Or what not to do.
And then we were like, no, like this. Not like that, but like this.
For those of you that are listening and not watching on YouTube, we are pretending to play with our anatomy doll here as we show people what to do and what not to do. Oh, Lord.
Where's our fact checker?
Where's our fact checker today? He's on parts unknown today.
Yeah, he is.
Jeanette, good to see you again.
I know, it's been a while,
It's been a minute. Dude, it's been a busy year. There's been a lot going on.
Yeah, there has
I
been.
feel like I'm in the news and life, and I just feel like this time has really been accelerated right now. And I feel like people I talk to feel that way also. That things have just been very accelerated, and it's just trying to make time for yourself or everything has just been really challenging.
Yeah, because there's a lot that happens in our lives, and it's tough to pause and take a minute and do the things that we like, but...
Oh, and I like doing this. I like getting with you guys, like
Yeah.
blah, 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 jerka. So, just, because this is what we do.
Yes.
I'm going with Chivas. I think Chivas is a pretty good, if you're a Scotch guy, it's kind of just a good go-to, I always drink this when I have, it's like drink to the fallen, like for fallen homies.
Oh,
for the homies.
Drink them for
I
the
feel
homies.
like be like one of those gangsters pouring his 40 out. So I always drink Chivas when you lose somebody in your life. Like, here's to the homies.
Oh.
Yeah.
Well, I don't have anything. Well, I have one. It's kind of
That's
like an
good.
ode to summer.
Dude, that's delicious.
An ode to summer. It's a truly
strawberry lemonade. That just looks delicious.
And it's big, so I know, but don't mess around.
I like them big.
Mm-hmm.
Well,
24 ounces.
I got my bang like I always do. And I got a box. I'm trying to buy the boxes because it's a little bit more cost effective.
Yeah.
And I usually get blue Raz.
But I don't. The box though, you're gonna be stuck with all of those weird flavors.
This one is rainbow unicorn, and I was like, it's not my usual one, but it's not bad. It's not bad.
It's not bad.
Not bad. I feel like a unicorn. Not a rainbow unicorn, but I feel like a unicorn. Just let me fly.
Does it remind you of being like a 10-year-old girl? Remember when you were a 10-year-old girl?
No, but it makes me think about the movie The Other Guys. I'm a peacock. Just let me fly. Did he just say he's a peacock?
He's a peacock.
Is he a peacock, really?
This one makes me feel like a teenage girl kicking up my feet on the bed.
Well, cheers. Here's to another good one, friend.
Cheers.
Oh, my
Salud.
goodness. Dude, it's awesome. Salud. Yeah, I know. You got to think.
I know. I gotta do it right.
Good Lord. Well,
Ooh, yes.
I feel like a lot's been going on, Jeanette.
Yeah, we're supposed to have a full dating episode, but to coordinate it with our friend
dating
Deb.
friend, yeah. You know, it's coordinating events have been just challenging right now.
Yeah, everyone has a lot of stuff going on. So locally here in Las Cruces, things are kind of opening up. COVID, like less COVID restrictions, and
I mean the emergency standards are still in place. Mm-hmm. But you wouldn't know it because it's like everybody just wants to get back to life.
Yeah, they want to get back to a sort of normalcy.
It was like a big thing in the downtown mall. Everybody was out. You see things like health fairs. Nobody goes to that nonsense anymore. But they had one. I don't know.
They had one yesterday.
Yeah, and there was a lot of people out. It was a beautiful day. They had music, and I think people just want life to go back to normal already.
I think so.
Everybody's tired of masks. The vaccine controversy. Do we get one? Do we not get one? Is it good? Is it bad? And depending on where you it seems like politically determines like how you feel about it. It's just like so much like that,
Well, I mean, we're trying to get to a sort of normalcy because, I mean, there's other things going on. So the price of living, everything is just going up.
Right.
Inflation is going up.
Were you gonna say the price of oil?
The cost of oil, the cost of living, the price of living. Cost.
I've seen the cost of like a gallon of milk. It's gone up. Like it's almost twice as much as it used to cost. Maybe like a year and a half ago. Mm-hmm. It's gone up fast.
$50 does not go a long way at the grocery store. That's like a few items.
It really is.
It's very sad.
I mean, I think about when I was a young man, not long ago, but a while back. I mean, like, not long ago, but, just a little bit back. I may remember when Reagan was in office. I don't know.
Everyone needs to comment. Oh yes, you still look young, Mark. This is the part where you're fishing.
That was delayed there.
You're fishing for comments.
I was like, is there a delay? Because she's not making any comments. Is there a delay on that?
No, comment now. I look young, right?
I remember like when gas was like less than $1 a gallon.
I know. Less than $1 a gallon.
Well, I remember when you could go to the gas pump and you had your choice of like unleaded, super unleaded, and regular. Like leaded.
Oh,
you had leaded and unleaded. But leaded was regular, I think it was.
Here, let me open up these.
Dude, yes!
Chocolates.
Jeanette had brought chocolates that are from Germany.
Yes, my sister's in town from Germany, so if she's listening.
Thank you,
our
Marlene, German
Torsten,
counterparts, for having such amazing sugars and sweets. I wish I knew how to say something in German, but I don't.
I knew how to say this. Period.
Schokrusse. I don't know what the U with the two dots over it mean in German.
Maybe we should have said, hey, like a sound bite. Like, hey, how do you say this?
I can't. My eyes are going.
Can we at least show it?
Yeah, show it, dude.
I mean, not let the truffles.
Germany wanted to break into the American market. You want to sponsor a podcast? Here it is. Bam! We're gonna enjoy these live on our podcast.
On this podcast, and there's like 4 flavors in front of us.
I see the dark chocolate one.
I see dark chocolate.
I'll get this one that's a mess right here.
Oh,
that looks delightful. It's like a wafer. It's dark chocolate.
I don't know. I'm gonna try this one. It's laying down.
It's magical. Damn it. Not only do the Germans know the automotive industry really well, but they can do chocolates really damn well.
It's like a marshmallow. The bottom looks like a wafer.
I don't know what that is. That's just so fantastic.
It melts in your mouth. This
is a show about listening to us eat. All we're going to do is drink alcohol and eat goods and not really have much to talk about.
Just watch us eat.
They're magical. Good. Something about chocolate from Europe is amazing. Right?
That one was tasty.
This is good. They're probably all the same. They just have different, like white chocolate, regular chocolate, and then dark chocolate and dark chocolate.
What the heck is that? It's not like marshmallow. It's like melted in your mouth.
I don't know what that is.
It looks like marshmallow.
And maybe it's a form of marshmallow, you know what I mean?
But it seemed airier.
Right.
More airy.
Right. We can use our nifty Google Translator app.
It goes really good with this Truly.
Ooh, and with scotch. And with
and
scotch.
with scotch. So there you have it. It goes with everything.
So what do you think, Mark? I'm going to be off, my mouth's going to be all stuffed. It's like, well, we had a full box. So, I think the last time we were here talking, or a while back maybe, we were talking about like what was going on in Europe with Ukraine and Russia, right?
Yeah, a lot
still going.
Yeah, it still is.
But not only that, like, okay, so I remember when we were talking, it was like this whole thing was like, oh man, Ukraine's gonna be overran. They're only gonna be able to hold on for like a week or two. The Russian bear is just gonna march through Ukraine and just get the president and just take over. Ukrainians are pushing back against the Russians.
They did attack back.
They've been attacking back. Mm-hmm. And I was listening to all sorts of reports earlier this morning. Russians are pulling out, and they're committing all sorts of atrocities.
Oh, a lot of war crimes.
A lot of war crimes.
War crimes are being reported.
You can look up the pictures. There's like people being killed in mass.
So, you know what I heard?
Huh.
Just most recently. So I'm going to put my brother-in-law on the spot.
Uh-oh.
I was,
We'll
he was telling me, because, no, I won't say
we'll use like
I
that.
just did earlier.
We'll use like the CIA name, like called Deep Throat.
So, everybody has their opinions about Putin, mm-hmm. but I guess they're calling him Putler,
mm-hmm.
which I hadn't heard before. Maybe everyone else has.
I've seen the pictures of where they draw pictures of Putin, and he has like that little Hitler mustache.
Yeah.
So, and this whole Ukraine thing, like, I started going down the rabbit hole, and I avoid the rabbit hole because once I feel like I go down the rabbit hole, I feel like I just go like balls deep. I just go in. Like, I go in. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I'm like over that phase of my life, but I couldn't help it. And like there's a lot to Ukraine. And it was a part of the Soviet bloc, the USSR, during the, after the war, with, World War II, the Warsaw Pact, the Cold War, they're behind the, the Iron Curtain and all that good stuff. There's a lot of fighting there in World War II. The people were overthrowing the government like 5-10 years ago. Not even 10 years ago, like 5 years ago. Mm-hmm. I mean, there's a lot of stuff going on there. Crimea. And it's funny because I feel like people nitpick. They pick what they want to pick. Like out of history mm-hmm. or out of what's going on and all this stuff. And, I think we've talked about in the past how like history is just so complicated. You can't take one thing out of history and just pull it out of context.
True.
Do you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And I'll give you an example. And I think I might have even told you guys this, but like they're like, well, Ukraine supported the Nazis during World War II. Okay. There are people, they're saying there's still Nazi influence there, which is why Putin went in. And then if you look at Ukraine historically, they always supported the Nazis because of World War II and all that. And I'm like thinking, I was like, okay, now you're mixing two different issues. Okay? Yes, there are pro-neo-Nazi people that were involved in the whole Crimea and the separatist part of Ukraine these last couple of years. Mm-hmm. And Ukraine needed them because they're fierce fighters. They needed that group of guys that were trained and all that stuff. But you can't compare that to what was going on in World War II. So in World War II, Germany had, an agreement with Stalin that Hitler wasn't going to invade. Mm-hmm. But then Hitler was secretly amassing thousands of everything, and Stalin wouldn't listen. Stalin always was saying like, "No, Germany wouldn't do that to us. We have an agreement with Hitler."
Yeah, but it's like very strategic. It's like keep your friends close, but keep your enemies close.
Well, like if you're putting thousands of soldiers and thousands of tanks and airplanes on the border, it's like, why is Germany doing that? And Stalin saying like, "No, he won't do that. He won't do that. We have an agreement." Then Operation Barbarossa goes into effect, and Germany advances the Soviet Union. So, Ukraine, they did, okay. So Ukraine took the the enemy of my enemy is my friend approach.
Mm-hmm.
So even though Ukraine was part of the Soviet Union way back then in the 40s from, communism and all that, they welcomed the Germans because the Germans were pushing back the Russians in World War II.
Mm-hmm.
So the Ukrainians in that time were fighting with the Nazis,
Mm-hmm.
and were giving Nazis intel because the Nazis were the enemy of their enemy,
Mm-hmm.
being the Russians were their enemy. And so once the Nazis expelled or pushed back the Russian forces and pushed back the Russian forces and pushed back the Russian forces, the Ukrainians weren't out of the woods because then the Nazis started killing the Ukrainians. So at which point it's like, oh crap.
It's very strategic.
It's like we screwed
Very
up.
strategic.
We thought they were here to help us push the Russians out, but no, the Nazis were. It was a big land grab.
You can't really befriend people who are just so willing to just invade another country. What makes you think that it wouldn't happen?
Right.
I mean,
right.
It's
So
just kind of it's just kind of one of those things. It's kind of like a common sense
Right.
type situation. You befriend someone, they talk crap about someone else. You
Right.
think that they're not doing the same thing about you. It's
Exactly.
a very simple example, but it holds true.
It holds true. So I don't know. God, these are amazing little.
Ooh, I want to try this little white one.
You
This
tried
little
the
white one.
We're all eating candies. I like this. We're gonna have different candies on the show every time.
Pretty soon it's just going to be catered. What do we have today?
People are coming with cakes. We're gonna give up on the alcohol. It's just gonna be the cakes. Eating cakes with friends.
Eating cakes with friends.
We'll find a reason to celebrate.
Washing it down with booze.
We'll find a reason to celebrate. So, so the Ukrainian politics is it's all over the place. You know what I mean? But
that's what's going on right now. So
that's
all
what's
of
going
these
on.
things
It's all
are
over the
happening.
place. The only thing that I think we should be concerned about, well, I guess, you want to support a country that wants to have a democratic government. You want all that, but I think a lot of people have been turning a blind eye to what were we doing? What was America doing in Ukraine? Because suddenly we were talking about biochemical labs in Ukraine. And at first they were saying, no, we don't have weapons of mass destruction there. But then suddenly it's like, yeah, we do have
There's always a hidden agenda.
There is
Come
a
on.
hidden agenda.
There's always, it's always like, look in one direction so they can fool you in another. It's like,
and then suddenly everything that they said about Hunter Biden with money with Russia, with Ukraine, with China, everything going on with Hunter Biden, the son of President Biden, everything's turning to be true.
It's very strange.
I mean, I was even listening to an interview from the guy where Hunter Biden dropped off his laptop to be worked on. That he was on the news being interviewed that, he's the one that turned the laptop to the FBI. He says, this guy asked me to work on his laptop or something or another, and it has national security stuff on there.
How weird. I feel like this mic is like, I can't see you, friend.
Oh.
Oh.
I'll put a picture. I'll put a little circle, two dots and a little smiley face. Here I am,
that?
friend.
What's that one commercial for depression where they're all putting the face?
I like the Zoloft one where it's a little rock that's bouncing. Oh, I want to be that little rock bouncing.
Aww. Oh, there we go.
There
I
we
can
go.
See you.
So it's just funny that all that turned out to be true.
Mm-hmm.
And the Biden administration, the press secretary, they're all just like they're trying to stay away from it, but all the reporters are asking about it. So it's funny that all this stuff in the past so many years from the election cycle, it's all coming out to be true. And then on top of it, there's a war which we had people over there before that kind of like stoking the flames, and I don't know, I think about that, and it's just like, it's disappointing with mainstream media. Mainstream media is just such full of crap. They don't report the whole truth. They pick and choose what stories they want to sway the news cycle and sway people's opinions rather than just reporting, letting you form your own opinion.
Yeah.
And it's just super disappointing. super disappointing. And then I start thinking about like everything we talked about, like human beings on Earth. Like we've talked about this, like invading other people,
invading other countries, and yeah.
And there's stories about Russian soldiers like just giving up to Ukrainians because they don't want to be there, they don't want to fight, and that strikes a chord to me because it's like how you and I were talking like in the past is like, hey, you know, like Taiwan and China, just let them live in peace. What the hell do you need Little Island for? Right? Like why are you gonna send kids to die for what? Why did Russia have to send kids to die in Ukraine? Mm-hmm. Like what for what at what end? Why did they have to do that? But then you have the soldiers out there. A lot of them were like abandoning their vehicles. There's text messages that Ukraine had released about intercepting messages from Russian soldiers being sent home, saying like, "Mom, we didn't know that this is. We were told we were being sent out here on training. We didn't know we were going to be sent to invade and kill people."
It's terrible.
It's sad, and
terrible.
I had even read a story about like some Russian tankers. One Russian tank guy in a tank, he ran over his commander, a lieutenant colonel. He was just so pissed off about the whole thing, and that guy had to go to the hospital. Didn't kill him, but he had to go to the hospital because he was like, "Why in the hell are we here?" Some other operators, Russian operators, they turned in their equipment to the Ukrainians and surrendered to them because they're like, "What are we doing here?"
What an interesting time. I mean, no, I'm gonna say it. What an interesting time to have a war in the day of just modern day technology. Because like think about like the wars that our our grandfathers fought.
Yeah.
I mean, with like I have a phone call coming.
I know if you need to answer that. If you need to answer that, I understand, but. We could do like a pause, click.
I know, right? Okay. Let me just finish this and just to make sure everything's okay. But no, I mean think about like the letters and things like you're talking about World War I, World War II.
It was all by letters.
I know, and think about how slow the news or how news got home to people.
And it was censored back then, but you had weeks to censor it because it wasn't instantaneous. You didn't have Twitter, you didn't have Snapchat, Instagram. Internet.
Unless you're a country where your government super controls absolutely
like
everything.
Like China or North Korea.
Or North Korea. I'm thinking North Korea.
Yeah.
Where, I mean...
They turn everything off.
Mm-hmm.
They'll turn off...
I mean, Russia's not North Korea. People
were
do
pretty open. They were much more open before this whole Russian thing and the sanctions. Now because of the war, the sanctions, they've like censored Facebook, Twitter, and all that. Or Facebook's been banned.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's very, I mean, you can see why they would do that because they can brainwash their people, they can brainwash their soldiers.
Oh, yeah.
And then it's like they go into a war blindly, thinking something completely untrue.
Right.
But when it comes down to it, like, it's sad that they were lied to. They go and invade this country, and then they're like, we didn't know this was happening, and it's like a harsh reality check.
You know, what a funny thing it is to send a bunch of kids to war, and suddenly they have access to all this information. What if all of a sudden all these kids you send to war said, we don't want to fight?
It's an interesting time in our lives because that could, if there's enough, I don't know, if there's like enough sway or if people unite, because people do amazing things when they unite. I mean, it could happen.
Because you could kind of see that with Russians. There are Russian soldiers that don't want to be there. They're like, why are we doing this? And they're surrendering to Ukrainians. Yeah. Then you have the other ones that are doing atrocities and doing all that. Do we need to pull time out real fast?
Yeah, let me just make sure that everything's okay.
Right now, ready? Right. And times.
Time out. All right.
Time in.
Time in.
So, birds are going crazy back there for a change. They're always
quiet.
I
can hear them.
Jerks. Birds are jerks.
Yeah, they kind of are.
You know, they don't love you. You want to go pet with them and play with them. Like, we're going to bite you. Then we're going to fly away. Then you have to catch us.
And they were all cute. I approached the cage, and then all of a sudden they're in the back. Yeah. And I'm all coming around, and they're all scooting away.
They're
and then
like
I step away.
They're like, we'll give you affection if we want to. Maybe we need a little food.
It's and then they stopped chirping. I'm like, of course you did.
It's like jerks. Just like cats. Cats will show you love when they kind of want something. They're
yeah.
Like,
when they want to bite you.
I need $100. I'm going to go, you can pet me.
You can pet me.
Like, it's like, you know what, cat? I think I'm gonna give you $100. I know. Then they're like, I hate you now.
I hate you.
I hate you now. Whereas dogs are just like, doo, doo, doo.
Pet me, pet me, pet
they're
me.
like that one that buzzard from the Looney Tunes. You know, bringing home a baby.
They're all like...
That's the dog. He's like, look what I brought you. Did you like it? Did you love me? It's like, that's poop. He's like, I know, it's so wonderful. I brought it for you. It's like, I hate you.
That's
hate
poop.
you. He's like, will you pet me now, please? It's like, you ate my couch. I know, because I love you so much. Please pet me. It's like, ah. They're just like that, you know, that's just a dog, you know what I mean?
And then they look up at you with those eyes. You're like, oh, I hate you. You're so cute.
Like, dang it. I can't even be mad at you. Go play and destroy something else. Yeah.
Destroy something else.
I know. That's a dog for you, right?
Oh.
They're like, I want to play again. I'm not done yet. Throw the ball again. Throw it again. For the 1,000th
like
time.
that. Your dog, Kati, man, she is...
And she still has that prance when she runs. You know what I mean?
She does. She's like a show dog.
She's like running like crazy, but she does that little like a prancing like a psycho.
She's like a... Did you say a prancing psycho?
Yeah. It's like something seemed off about this dog.
She's prancing like a lunatic.
Oh my god.
Oh my goodness, that's so funny.
So, anyways, yeah. So this whole Russian-Ukraine thing, but it's just funny to think of an idea of an army going to war where the soldiers know what's going on, and they're kind of like, you could kind of see people getting to a point where like, why are we doing this? This day and age, why are we still fighting wars, invading countries, and senselessly killing people? And I think there's always going to be those sickos. I think in life, there's always going to be sickos that are going to do like sick things, right? Mm-hmm. But a better part of the population, they just want to hang out. They want to go to work.
They just want to have a good life. They want security.
Good life, have fun, go travel and all that nonsense. And I think when I read stories about like some of those Russian soldiers, we're like, we're gonna give up. We give up. Here's the keys to our tank.
Take it.
We give up.
Take
you know,
it.
I all I can think of is like something's happening where it's starting to sink in with people this day and age. Like, why are we fighting? I mean, okay.
There's always going to be that one person, that one aggressor. There's always aggressors out there.
When we went into Afghanistan, it was part of the whole 9/11 thing, off the backbone or off the tailcoats of that. Mm-hmm. But then we were talking about these people called the Taliban, and they're doing horrible things to women, and we whether it was exaggerated or not. I think, you know, our government may have exaggerated of getting us in there. The media may have exaggerated us. So we always we have this ideal that, oh, we're fighting the good war, we're helping people. Even with the invasion of Iraq the first time. Oh man, these Iraqis, they invaded these Kuwaitis. And they're throwing babies from the hospital, which turned out to not be true, but the media sold it. And suddenly it was the good war, and all the allies are there, and they're like, Saddam Hussein, you're being a bad person, you need to pull out. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? And so there's still people that they're willing to fight war if it's for a good cause and it's the right thing, and there's I think there's always going to be people that are willing to make the sacrifice if it's for the right cause. Yeah. But this senseless idea where we're just going to invade just to go take over your country and just to kill you. I think people are kind of over it, or they're kind of having this aha moment, like something's happening, and you can kind of start seeing it a little bit at a time. People are becoming more worldly, and they understand the world a little bit better. And maybe that's the positive side of social media and the internet. Suddenly travel, air, traveling through airplanes. You could go online and you could see somebody on the other side of the world, and they're like, they're not that much different than us. They want to work and make some money and take care of the family and maybe have a drink with you or something like that. But that's always a common thread. People just want their needs fulfilled. Yeah, that's it. And I don't know. I kind of hope things go in that direction, because I don't know. I mean, what happens if world leaders sent people to go fight in a war, and everybody showed up and they're like, screw this. Why am I going to kill you and to just have you kill me? Why?
It's very senseless.
It is senseless.
It's senseless for just someone else. It's like it's always that one or a group of people.
That will benefit.
Just a group of people. But what about all of the other citizens of Russia? Do they really? No, they don't benefit from this. Really, what do they benefit from?
I mean, you look at the Korean people, North Korea. I mean, you have to wonder about North Korea and South Korea. If you're in North Korea, because like it's very mountainous and all that, is it possible that people in Korea from the north can look over the border and see like the town in the south and see all the lights and see the cities and think like, God, what's going on over there? Do you know what I mean?
It's very, yeah, how sad, huh?
And here they go back to their home where they're still living like 100, 150 years in the past.
Mm-hmm.
Like pictures from outer space, you can see North Korea because it's dark at night. And you're always under fear that if you say the wrong thing, like the secret police or whoever they are there in North Korea will arrest you and your family, and like it's just that's crazy. Like there's I don't know how many million people and they're starving, and then they see the president and he doesn't look like he's starving, right? And
then they have to have a picture of him in their house. So
right.
It's very like. It's very bizarre.
It's like
a weird.
We don't have to do anything.
It's weird.
We don't have to do anything. I mean, I would assume that at some point Korean people would be like, "Look, I'm done. I'm done with this guy. He's not doing anything for me. I'm living the way my great-great-granddad lived." You know what I mean? I'm just curious. Like at some point, it's like the Korean people are just going to be done with it and be like, "All right, dude, we're done with you. Get out."
But. It's so weird because it's like massive brainwashing. It's
yeah.
brainwashing on a larger scale. Like how I mean I hate to say this, but how the hell does one just do that? Like
right.
How do you just get people to just become small on a grand scale?
Oh, absolutely. And
it's
okay,
so interesting
and
to
you
me
could,
that it's
you
done.
can compare that to us,
mm-hmm.
But it's not one person here doing it. Here you have like the mainstream media, and the mainstream media, they kind of report on the same thing, and they give the same.
They give the same side. Yeah, it's kind of like different news outlets. Like, they will
right.
either report from the side of being a Republican or a Democrat. You can kind of sort of tell just the way
all the
they
sound
report
bites
the
are
news.
the same, and so
mm-hmm.
you're getting the same kind of brainwashing, but just in a different way. Now, granted, here, if we talk bad about our government or something, and we say our president's full of crap, you're not going to be thrown in jail for 10 years
mm-hmm.
into a labor camp. You know what I mean? But still, like, it's just a different way of happening here. But I like to think that here in the United States, at least you could do something about it.
People are free to make up their own minds about
right.
about anything. I mean,
right.
yes, you have influence everywhere.
Right.
Political, religious, you have influence everywhere. It's kind of hard to maneuver through the chaos, but at some point you're also given the freedom to seek an education or don't, or just you have the freedom to be better or stay put or evolve.
Absolutely.
You know what I'm saying? It's just
go to school, get educated.
Yeah.
You can join
choose.
the politics.
You can choose to do that.
You can choose on what side of the political fence you want to be on.
Yeah.
What party you want to run for, and you can go join local politics. You don't have to be well connected and be the brother or the cousin of the father-in-law of the great political leader. You can be a nobody and throw your top 10 cents in and try to get involved.
How crazy! It's like you have the freedom to either succeed or fail.
Right.
I mean, it's really just a choice. You can choose to do either or.
Either or.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, absolutely. And maybe that's a part of the American dream, right?
Yeah.
If you're willing to put in the legwork, you might be able to get somewhere in life.
Absolutely.
And I talked to people in Venezuela,
mm-hmm.
and that country's a mess.
Yeah, you're talking about like
it's a bloody mess. So the government, it's hyperinflation, out of control hyperinflation. You know, their bolivar, it's worth like one millionth of a dollar. And so what they do to combat hyperinflation now is they say like, well, we're going to knock off a couple of zeros off everything, so it doesn't seem like it's that expensive.
It doesn't do anything.
But it still takes a lot of like bills.
Just because you change the way it looks doesn't mean that it's the content and still isn't the same.
Absolutely. And then what was something else? Okay, so here's something that happened in Venezuela. Mm-hmm. So gas used to be something like 4 cents a gallon or something like that. So they always had gas, you could buy something. But last month they changed the way people pay for gas and all that, and it went up to like something like 80 cents a gallon.
Oh, that's
from like
huge
4 cents to 80. That's like from us going from like $1 to like $8 overnight.
God, yeah.
And the people I talked to, they're just like, I'm like, oh, that doesn't seem that bad. Like, you live in America. You know, you're paying like a couple of dollars. If it goes up and down by a quarter, you notice it, but it's not that bad. For us, we only make like $20 a month. Mm-hmm. So if it goes up to like 80 cents, $1 a gallon, suddenly it's going to take a month's worth of money to fill up our gas tank.
Wow.
Whereas before it was like 4 cents a gallon. It wasn't that big of a deal. And then gas is rationed. You can only buy gas by your last name on certain days and all that.
How weird.
It's completely weird.
Oh, wow.
The world's largest oil reserve country that sits over the world's largest oil reserve. And you have to really look at, things aren't perfect here. You have to work for what you want here.
Yeah.
But you can do something here.
Mm-hmm.
Your success is really dependent on your drive.
The amount of effort you put into anything you do.
Right. And you go to another country like that, and it's like, unless you're well connected, you know, if you were away from your house, so say, like a lot of people from Venezuela go to Colombia, because you can make money there, and the peso there is worth a lot more than it is the bolivar's worth. Mm-hmm. It's like night and day difference.
Wow.
And so people will leave to go to Colombia, they leave their house vacant in Venezuela, and then the government, last year the government came out and said, well, if you're not here to file paperwork on your houses, we're just going to let squatters live in your house, and if the squatters claim your house, it's theirs. If you leave the country.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. And the government's letting it happen.
You know, that's so sad, but what would a person do? I would just let my house go to hell and be like, to hell with it. I'm going to have a better life elsewhere and take what I want and just leave. Right.
So it's like, it's like, count your blessings here. Things aren't perfect. And, I think social media is kind of out of control here. And I think we could do things to legislate social media. Mainstream media is kind of whack right now, but you have different options and you can choose and pick online what media you want. But you have those options here.
Yeah. You have the freedom to choose.
You have the freedom to choose. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? And we've been in a couple of wars for the last 20 years. But the reality, I think most people, for the most part, they look at the context of we were trying to help people. That's kind of the basis. That was the basis of it. Trying to get rid of this really bad regime called the Taliban, trying to get rid of Saddam. But there was a bad insurgency in Iraq. We couldn't leave, and so I think that maybe there was good intentions, but there's that saying, good intentions doesn't always mean what is there a saying about good intentions?
I don't know, but I'm kind of curious to know what the rest of that sounds like. Fact checker. Oh, he's not here.
I know, right?
Damn it.
So, but then you find that the war machine really drove that. There's a lot of profits. Halliburton, Blackwater, you know what I mean? So there's a lot of there's definitely a lot of motivation to go to war and all that. But to see a country like Russia all of a sudden do a 1930s style invasion of another country.
It's bananas for us to even see that.
Right.
I find it really weird.
Right.
And I don't know if I'm the only one, but I don't know.
It didn't seem like it would be possible this day and age.
It didn't, and we've talked about this even last year.
Right.
We were talking about this last year, and all of a sudden we're seeing this, and
it's like it happened.
I know.
And then we were talking about other countries trying to help this country out to defend themselves, and suddenly Russia's talking about nuclear weapons, nuclear war. And it's like back in the 1970s again, living in the Cold War, the nuclear threat, the Cuban Missile Crisis all over again.
Have the kids started going through
nuclear bomber drills?
Yeah.
I know, right?
I wouldn't be surprised if that happens. Honestly, I really wouldn't be surprised.
And then,
actually, I want to say that that's probably already happening, and I have no content to even know. I don't even know if this is true.
I want to check now.
Do we know teachers?
I'm curious. I mean, probably depends where you live, right? Mm-hmm. But I'm kind of curious. I'm going to try to Google it real fast.
To know that's even happening now.
Right. I mean, have we gone back to do that now that's kind of been thrown out there again because of like this whole thing? Like Putin had no problem throwing that out all of a sudden.
Yeah.
You know? Well, I mean, there's nothing right away on here. There's like stuff about history and all that. Like 1955. You know, nuclear strike drills fade away in the 1980s. It may, here's an article from NPR. It says, it may be time to dust them off. And that was NPR. Oh, that was like 3 years ago from NPR.
Okay.
But still, like, I remember this happened to us when we first started. And I first got the mouse. And I touched the mouse and we were talking for a while. We didn't notice we were talking. And then we noticed it wasn't recording. When we touch the mouse, it stops the recording.
How weird that it happened again. But this time you caught on pretty fast. You're like, wait a minute.
We have a screen showing what we're playing. Yeah, so we were able to catch it quick. But yeah, nuclear bomb drills. Like, I don't know. Like, I'm waiting for Star Trek.
Oh, a Space Force is gonna happen
Space
soon, right?
Force. But like, you ever watch the new Star Treks, like the movies that came out?
I love Star Trek.
This
Honestly,
idea that
I love Star Trek.
People from all over the world join the Space Force to go explore the universe, further humanity, further science, further everything, right? And they're from every walk of life. Look at like Chekhov and Captain Sulu. They're from all these. I mean, I don't know. Like, they don't tell you what's going on in Earth in terms of like, are there different countries and all that? But you get that feeling that there's not. You
get a feeling that there's unity, and the greater good isn't what's happening on our planet anymore. It's about what's happening out with the threat to the actual planet.
Right.
So keeping the planet safe.
Like the civilization, like
yeah.
And then there's multiple civilizations already involved. Mm-hmm. Like there's the Federation with, you know, like the and you have like, I gotta sneeze.
Oh.
Wow. but yeah, you have like this these different alien worlds, and then like you have the other ones like the Klingons and the Romulans, and they're fighting for territory and each other, and but it's like humanity's gone so different, like gone so far, and it's like no longer like, are we trying to kill each other here?
I love Star Trek, honestly. Like,
when you think about that, isn't that awesome to think like...
It is.
It's like, I'm waiting for that.
Well, with all the lights in the sky, circling back to the paranormal, not a paranormal show, we made it pretty clear, but there's a lot of strange things that happen, and you've been talking about the lights again.
And
you've
again,
been seeing the lights
I've been seeing the lights out there. We're gonna go out there. We'll take the camera, because we have a camera now.
Oh.
We have an HD camera.
Oh, let's do
this.
And
I have we live near White Sands Missile Range, the largest missile range, like on mainland continent United States. Because then in Hawaii there's a missile range, but it shoots out into the ocean, so it's like the largest, like area-wise missile range. Because it shoots into the ocean, whereas White Sands is the long, like land-based missile range. So, anyways, but then there's a NASA base.
There's NASA base.
And it's funny because there's people that live in that area, and I happen to know some. And they're like, "Oh yeah, we see the crazy lights out here all the time." Mm-hmm. And I just happened to comment on it, like, "Oh yeah, I've seen lights out there."
But it's so weird because I wouldn't have believed it had we not come out of that one time. That one time we were having drinks at a restaurant.
Right. And I said, oh, hey, there they are.
And then we saw like these circles and just hovering. and they're moving, and then they would stand still, and then they would just like disappear, and they'd come back on and move again, and it was just so weird.
Yeah. It was like very nonchalant because we're talking about It's like, oh yeah, like here they are. I see them. Get a picture of them. You get them on video, and
how weird. And it wasn't like anything you can compare it to. We talked about this.
And it's funny because
it's a helicopter.
It's in the media also a lot more than it ever has been.
Mm-hmm.
You know, with Captain Favor and the TikTok, with the Navy,
Oh
there was a pilot that said like, hey, there's a cruise missile like shaped object here above our plane, and they're like, well, it wasn't on radar. They were able to confirm it, but they weren't able to confirm it because it didn't show up on radar, but they had a visual on it, and it's out now. Like people are talking about it. Do you know? It's like
it's become common. I mean, you see more shows about it. You see more like just more things on the. You know, it's weird. You see things on the news now.
It's on the news now.
And that's something that wouldn't have. That doesn't regularly happen.
Like growing up, it would never been on the news.
No.
It was just all foo-foo stuff, like crazies.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And that's not the case anymore. I'm gonna get the regular chart.
Right.
Chocolate
I'm gonna
now.
try that.
I was like, okay, candy break.
And it's so.
They're so delightful.
It's so airy.
It really is. It's like that Air Puffs marshmallow thing.
But it's not sticky.
Mm-mm. And the shells are really thin and delicate.
Mm-hmm.
Way to go, Germans. Way to go, Germany, having such delightful chocolate.
It's very lovely.
It's lovely. It's very... Uh-huh. If you're not on YouTube watching this, we're going to describe to you how delightful these are. It's like you know what? If I was able to take a bite out of a cloud, this is exactly what I would expect to
Exactly, and it's not sticky.
It's not sticky at all.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Wow, that's lovely.
It is. Next time I go skydiving, I'm going to be like, I want to bite the cloud just to see if it's like that candy.
Have some more. It's really good.
Oh my god, it's amazing. Mimi, I'm just assuming this is how it's pronounced. Schokrusse.
I have no idea.
I don't know either.
I have no idea.
But it's really good. I wonder if you can get them on Amazon.
Oh no, we have to take a picture of it. Maybe.
Yeah, we have to like show them. But they're really good. They have like little bell-shaped things. But yeah, Jeanette, I'm waiting for Star Trek.
That'd be cool.
Yeah, like
scary. I mean, since we live in Bizarro land, I'm starting to believe that we are in the not so normal dimension.
Right.
I don't know how we won the lottery to be in this one, but anything is possible in my mind.
And so New Mexico, they came out with a map with like the states that had the most like strange activity. Mexico's not even like in the top 5 or top 10.
Oh God, really?
Yeah.
And a lot of weird stuff happens.
A lot of weird stuff happens here
in my work building.
No, okay. So we're going from like UFO to like hauntings.
No, so that stuff is still happening in my building. How about your building?
Well, I moved buildings.
Oh, so no, but on the old
I was
building,
able to work till like 10 at night. And
without being disturbed?
Yeah, freaked out, and I was like, oh, this is delightful.
It's all nice to have peace of mind.
I mean, rather than hearing drawers slamming and being like, okay, I can't do this. I gotta go. I gotta go now. That was kind of a nice change, but okay, so for like the last, I don't know, since the Industrial Revolution, maybe during the Renaissance, things have been grounded in science.
Mm-hmm.
There's the scientific, what do you call it? Scientific process. You have to like make a hypothesis. It has to be something you could test. It has to be something you could test.
Measurable, have a measurable result.
Right, and you have to be able to replicate those results.
Mm-hmm.
And there's this whole scientific process, and once you hypothesized about something, and you test it, and you can retest it, somebody else has to be able to do it too. Like, it has to be peer reviewed, right? And so we've lived in the world where a lot of science was like, okay, can I touch it? Can I feel it? Can I taste it? Can I measure it? You know what I mean? It's very physical. And in this last century, like maybe like the last 150 years, science has, it's gone into the domain of space, light, things that you can't touch but you can still measure. And then physics, atomic age, suddenly talking about subatomic particles, definitely things we can't see, we couldn't measure, but then we could start measuring it. And like physics have gotten smaller and smaller and smaller, quarks and muons, but now we are able to measure, we're able to hypothesize about that. And even physical science taking on, like science has just continued to grow and grow and grow. So so we're at a point with science, like science has just gone. You're talking about like quantum computers that can interact on a multi-dimensional level. You're talking about like it's like so many different dimensions that we can't even see or feel, but they're able to like theoretically test it and prove their existence. Do you know what I mean?
Like parallel dimensions.
Right. I mean, so.
I wonder what I'm like in my other one.
I know. Maybe you'd be cool. Maybe you're cool.
Maybe
Maybe you're cool. So is it possible, like life is out there? Is it possible that like hauntings is life on a whole different dimension that we're seeing echoes of? Is it possible we haven't been able to figure out how to measure it and retest it, but it's there. It's there. People obviously have seen it. There's videos of it, but the material science and being able to touch it, feel it, measure it, recreate it hasn't gotten there, but it is getting there slowly.
Yeah.
And I was listening to this lady talk about, she's a scientist that talks about life in outer space. She was on the channel, I think it's called Vox, VOX.
Okay. Oh yeah, I know what you're talking about.
And she works for the SETI program. And she says, she's answering questions, commonly asked questions on Google. And she says, she's like, and some of them were like, is there life out there? She goes, we don't know, we want to find out. And she's comparing like what she does to like the ocean. So she says what SETI does is we send radio waves out there and we always listen. We're always listening. We're always putting our dishes out there. We're always listening for life. And she says you have to understand like how big the universe is. So we've had satellites pointing into outer space for decades, maybe not a century, but decade, 50, 60, 70 years, whatever. And we're listening. We're trying to listen for life, for something that's coming at us. And she says, you have to put it into context. If the universe is the ocean, and we've been listening for signs of life out there for the past 50 years, we've only listened to about a bathtub worth of ocean. Like as much as we point our satellite dishes into space, we've only like listened
almost touched the surface, just
right,
barely
touching the earth,
barely touching the
of
surface.
A bathtub. If the universe is the ocean, like the oceans of the earth, one bathtub compared to the ocean is nothing. And so then she says like, well, what if they have a technology that's very advanced for communications? Here we're still listening to radio waves, and they may be using some sort of different frequency that we haven't discovered yet. So we have no way to hear them. Maybe they are trying to reach out to us, but we have no way to hear them yet because our technology is not there yet. We went a different direction and they went this direction. The universe is certainly large enough and all the building blocks are there, but we've just scratched the surface. You know what I mean?
Well, it is interesting times because our brains have barely even just expanded our minds to that. And if it hasn't been for where we're at now, internet, communication, all that stuff.
Right.
I mean, our brains are barely capable of imagining beyond.
Okay, when you were a little kid in middle school and somebody tells you about the internet, was the internet even around when you were in middle school yet?
Internet, middle school.
No,
maybe high school.
So, because we're not far in age, right?
No,
I think we determined that you're like older than me, but not like crazy older than me, but maybe significantly older than me. Without throwing out numbers. Allegedly.
It's like a matter of like a year, maybe. You're so ridiculous.
A decade, year,
I don't know.
Yeah. I mean, what is time? As I roll my eyes, what is time?
What is time?
But
when it comes to age, I'm not that much older.
What is not that much? But I remember, like, as a little kid, if you were trying to describe to me as a kid, hey, there's going to be this thing called the internet.
Let me put something into content, just to give you an idea about my generation.
Tell me about your generation.
Freshman year typing.
On the old typewriters?
On the old typewriter. The second year was keyboarding.
Were they...
So, like, in a span of 1 year, it was old-fashioned typewriters, and all of a sudden our school had keyboarding.
It's like one day everybody was wearing those stovepipe hats, and then one day they were wearing those, and the next day they were wearing ball caps.
It was so bizarre, and I still remember. It was just like from 1 year to another.
It's like one day you're told to turn in your horse, and they gave you the keys to a car.
Yeah, it's like, what am I doing?
Like, what is this?
So, trust me. And then when I went to college, like my first year, I took 2 years off. So I went my first year in college. So I graduated high school.
Got very scandalous for 2 years.
No,
wow.
I worked for 2 years.
Wow.
But then I went to college, and that's when I remember internet.
Right.
And that's when I remember first assignments, and you got to do stuff. So it was a crash course for me.
Do you remember like getting into chat rooms and chatting online?
No.
Like
no, but I do remember people doing that.
And instant messaging.
Yeah.
It wasn't like texting was even out yet.
And that was like very like a social thing to do. Like reaching out to people in other parts of the U.S. or different parts of the country. It was
or just like down the street.
Down the street, yeah.
So, like, imagine trying to explain the internet to like yourself. Like when you're a little kid, like this is what's gonna exist. And like, all right, so there's gonna be phone wires everywhere. No, there's no wires, but the internet's all around you, and it's like, are you gonna be able to see it?
No.
Right.
It's like, no, you can't see it either.
So it's a radio.
It's it's like a pipe dream. It's like you can't fathom this.
And to tell you, like little Jeanette, be like, so you're gonna have a phone, and you're gonna be able to talk on your phone. Okay, cool, but there's not gonna be any wires to it, like a cordless. No, you can leave your house.
Oh no, and I remember the corded phones because you'd have the long cord so you can drag it to your room.
Well, I remember having the cordless phone and you could hear other people's conversations.
Oh, that used to happen when I was in college.
Yeah.
Yeah, like you would tap into someone's...
And you would just be all quiet like, oh my God, what's going on? How scandalous.
Oh my God.
Ay, Dios de mi vida.
Dios de mi vida.
But, so we're telling little Jeanette about this. It's like, so you're going to have a phone, you don't have to be home. Okay, so it's a cordless. No, it's more than that. So it's like, it's a walkie-talkie. No, it's more than that. And then not only that, you're going to be able to watch TV on there. So it's like, okay, so it's a TV. No, it's a phone. But you can watch TV on it. Right?
Remember the first phones that actually had internet? What a pain in the butt that was.
The dial-up and all that. Right.
It's such a pain in the ass, but...
So like here we are, we're all living, we're a part of it, like nothing, you kind of know what it is, you know what modems are, you know enough about the little bits of it that you can visualize it, but somebody 30, 40, 50 years ago is like, okay, so it's like a camera you're walking around with because you're going to take video. No, it's a phone, it's a cellular device. It's like, okay, so it's not a radio, but you can talk on it, it's not a cordless, but you can talk on it, it's not a TV, but you can watch shows on it.
And it is like just a little mini computer, at the palm of your hand.
A computer that's more advanced than the first computers that they had from the Apollo days.
It is like the wildest thing.
It's the
because
wildest
we walk
thing.
Around with this. How many people actually own a computer? Everyone
you're lost
owns
if you don't have
cell phone.
it.
Yeah. Like this is how you connect.
There's guys, homeless people on the street that have cell phones. And I don't know if that's an American thing or if that's like common around the world, but how many times have you seen like a homeless person on the side of the road and there's like a public, a public park and there's an outlet and they're charging the cell phone. Like our first world, industrialized country. Is so advanced, you could be homeless and still have a cell phone.
Well, you can still tap into free Wi-Fi somewhere.
Right.
You don't have to have a phone service. You just have to have it powered and tap into someone's Wi-Fi.
It's crazy.
Mm-hmm.
It's crazy. So, anyway, that's the times we're living in. So, just to kind of shift the conversation, because I know we're on a schedule here and all that.
Yeah.
I've always said we need to talk about stuff about leadership and all that.
Mm-hmm.
And I think the topic we skirt on, you can take control of your life and take a role of leadership in your life, whether it's like on a micro level, on a macro level, like even talking about like going to war and being like standing up for what you believe in, and being willing to say like, no, I'm not going to do this. Yes, I'm going to do this. Yes, it's a good reason to go fight. No, we shouldn't invade, and that's the wrong reason. But and it's funny because this last year or so, it's been interesting for me.
Yeah, it has. You've had a lot of stuff happen.
Yeah, and I think about like the people that have got have moved on in my life, and I think you and I had talked about this about like finding meaning. Mm-hmm. And what is like this whole meaning? What is meaning? What are you trying to do with your life? Do you know what I mean?
And it's very when people move on, and
pass away.
Puts a lot.
They pass away.
Yeah, they pass away. It puts a lot of perspective into your life, and you might have plans and you might have like these goals, but when someone you love passes away, you don't think about. Honestly, I don't think about my goals. I think about time that's lost. Right.
I had this conversation twice this week with this female that lives out of country, and again talking about like my life, the things I've done. And she goes, "Man, it sounds great. Sounds like you had fun." And I've always said like, if I could redo it all again, I would do it different. Mm-hmm. And people are always shocked, like, "Oh my God, why would you do it different?" I wouldn't change a thing, because it's like in life. Things come and go.
Oh yeah.
And I've had this conversation twice this week. Mm-hmm. Things come and go. You get in a car accident, your car's destroyed, you get another car. Mm-hmm. Might take a month, or you take a loan or whatever. You lose your job, you get another job. Mm-hmm. One day you have a lot of money, then you lose it, but then somehow, like, I don't want to say like, but the universe provides, and then suddenly you have more money again. Mm-hmm. Like you think about, like you may not have food to eat one day, but then the next day you have like a grocery cart full of food. Mm-hmm. It's just funny, like it's funny how one day you can have something, the next day you don't have anything, but then the day after that you have more again. Mm-hmm. And so things in our life come and go, whether it's friends, whether it's jobs, just all sorts of stuff. People that lost homes in like when the market crash was in 2008. People lost their homes. They lost their jobs. They got jobs again. Now they have homes again. Mm-hmm. Do you know what I mean? So all this stuff comes and goes, but the only thing that you can never get back is time.
That's true. It is absolutely true. And I think about this a lot. I think about happiness and I think about time. I think about a lot of times we're so worried about things that we can't control. We have some control over our lives.
Right.
We talk about that. You got to take charge of your destiny. But there's things that sometimes we're always putting off. I've kind of hit a phase in my life where I'm like, I just want to do what makes me happy. If it's, I want to do things that help prolong my life. I want to exercise more, which I have. I've been good. Right. I mean, diet,
vitamins.
Sometimes, but the thing about it is changing habits to become better. I'm doing those things, but I want to do things that make me happy. And sometimes choosing things to make you happy, you don't have to explain to anybody.
Right.
Those are your choices. And you know what? You don't owe anybody an explanation. Just go out and be happy.
If you're passionate about something,
happy.
Do it.
Just do what makes you happy.
If you're passionate about collecting baseball cards,
do it. Be happy.
Go buy it.
Screw it. Be happy.
And if your brother, if your friend says like, God, that's crazy. Doesn't matter. If that makes you happy, then do it.
Then do it.
And if your legacy is to be the guy that had the most baseball cards when you died, and you're going to be remembered for having baseball cards, that's great. If that was your passion, that made you happy, then do it, right?
And I think that in this day and age, and with everything that's happening, everything is uncertain. Let's stop doing things. Let's stop making explanations. Stop thinking about what people think of you.
Right.
Go out and be happy. Just go out and do. You don't owe anybody anything.
I'm not saying go get drunk and party every night.
No, I'm saying I hope if that makes you happy. Honestly, I've never felt super happiness in that, but I mean.
I don't know. Like, does a constant drive to succeed and to do more, is that it? I mean, I don't know. Is trying to be that next big person with the next big idea, is that happiness? I mean, I don't know. I don't know what exactly that happiness is.
And maybe it could just be that small thing in the moment that makes you happy. And then, doing what you would regularly do, and then something else. I mean, but you never know where the road's going to lead. You never know where you can go.
I don't know if, like being a social media star's it.
I don't know if that's, but I mean, if it's making them happy.
I guess if it makes you happy. I mean, who am I to judge anybody?
I don't know. Maybe it makes them happy.
Maybe it makes you happy. I guess if that's your happiness, but just know that your happiness. I mean, your happiness may change if that's what you want to do right now. But maybe in 10 years from now, it may not make you happy. Maybe you might have something else in life that makes you happy, right?
I was talking to a friend about living in the present. She was telling me about trying to learn to live her moments in the present. And, it's kind of fun because, here we are having our drink. I'm having my Truly, eating our chocolate. And that moment where we were both like, this chocolate's good, we were living in the present because we were describing it to everybody like, this chocolate tastes like this. It's very airy. It's just like that. It's so funny, but describing what you're doing in the present actually helps you live in the present. And that, for a minute, it was very delightful. It was very delightful. It was super simple, very delightful. It made me happy. It was
like an exercise in being present.
Yes, it actually really was. And that's what it reminded me of.
And that's very interesting because as you get older, it's kind of a funny thing, but as you get older, time goes faster and faster. How many times your friend says, like, dude, it just goes faster and faster. It's like, suddenly it was January, now it's April. I mean, it was 2020, now we're in 2022, where's time going? And it's like, what kind of exercise can you do to, like, in effect, slow down time?
This was a great idea, honestly. This was a great exercise in being present. Because we were, like, describing it, we were, like, probably going to remember it. But that memory is already gone. But, like, just living in the present. Sometimes we just need to focus on now. Because you know what? I don't know what's going to happen tomorrow.
Right.
The future, it's just an idea. The past is gone.
It's gone.
Future is an idea. Right now, we only have this.
Right.
And right now, honestly, I'm happy in the moment. I'm very happy in the moment.
And it's funny, though. I always think there's a balance. Because I think you want to be present, you want to be in the moment, but you also have to plan for tomorrow, too.
Oh, yeah. You always have to.
You always have to. And maybe that's where we get lost at, right? We're always planning for tomorrow, that we're always working hard for tomorrow to have something more tomorrow or whatnot. And so we lose the part of it where you're being present today. Yeah. Maybe that's what it is. I don't know. And it's a challenge to, like, tell people, like, be present right now. But
and it takes, I think, a lot of exercise. I mean, it just reminded me of that, just because I didn't realize. But yeah, when we were doing that, we were really just living in the present, and it just reminded me. It was great.
It was just kind of nice where just out of the blue, you guys wanted to come over the other day, and we just hung out.
Yeah, that was fun.
We don't do that often.
No, but we were just like, you know what? Let's do it. Why don't we do that?
Why don't we do that?
We should do that more. We should, like, cherish the people that we enjoy hanging out with, and just have them. It doesn't have to be super planned all the time. It could be spontaneous. It could be impromptu.
Right. Absolutely.
And we had fun.
Yeah. Yeah. It is totally fun. So I just think about that all the time, and I always think about what the next great adventure is going to be.
Oh, well, you have some plans.
I do. I think about that, like, what's going to be our next great adventure? We do this, we do that, but what's going to, like, okay, I think as a guy, okay, us as a kid, you're always, like, having adventures as a kid. Let's get on our bicycles, and let's do this, and let's play cops and robbers, and let's go treasure hunting.
Well,
and
we're not much different than what we were when we were kids, because wasn't our ultimate focus as a kid is what is fun. We're gonna do only the fun things.
Right.
But we're still doing that.
How often as an adult, though, do you say, like, what's our adventure gonna be? What are we gonna do?
What are we gonna do for fun right now?
I don't hear a lot of my peers saying, like, what's our next big adventure? A friend of ours saying, like, let's go metal detecting. I'm like, that could be kind of cool, like, somewhere where there's been a lot of people out, you don't know what you're gonna find. Let's try it.
Yeah.
What the hell? What's there to lose? Try it, right?
Nothing. It's fun.
and I keep telling myself that. What's the next big adventure? I don't know what it's going to be yet.
Well, you never know where one adventure could lead you. I mean, come on. Our friend is talking about like, oh, that would be so ultimate. Like skydive into the ocean with a metal detector. That's like ridiculous.
I know.
But it seems so ultimate. It's like you're doing all of the things that you want to do at once.
Yeah.
Let's do it.
I think that'd be really cool. So
that is so funny, but it's fun.
And maybe that's what's missing from people today. They get in the hustle and bustle, getting kids to work, paying bills, going to work, coming home, and I mean, some people might go to the gym, some might just get home and watch TV, watch the game, and drink a beer. Rough up their wife. I don't know, but
rough up their wife. I hope it's in a good way, not in a bad way, not the one that leads to the hospital.
So I don't know.
Up in a good way.
But so you have a lot of people that fall into these these patterns in life, and how many people think about to when they're a kid and they're always planning an adventure, and do that as an adult, and say like, what's our next adventure? And then if you're married, you look at your wife like, what's your next adventure? And like I've been blessed. I've had some pretty awesome ex-girlfriends. And they say like, I want to go here and do this. Like, oh, that'd be kind of a cool adventure.
Yeah, you should have adventures.
Right? Or how many times has a guy told their partner like, let's have the adventure. What's next? Where do you want to go? What do you want to do? We can work up to the goal, save money. Whether you want to do something like go to Costa Rica because it's really affordable, go on a cruise. I mean, it's an adult adventure, but
it's still an adventure
it's
new. You've never been there.
Open up a business. Like, okay, it's a big risk. We could lose everything, but if we work hard enough together, something might come out of it, but it's still an adventure. So maybe as an adult, we've turned off this idea of like that we had as kids as life is always an adventure. Maybe as an adult you can't go out and be a pirate because modern day pirates say capture, they kill them because it's illegal. Whereas as a little kid you're playing. But as an adult, where's that child heart you had? Because as a child, you lived in the moment. You're having fun right now with your friends. So as an adult, where's that balance to say, like, what's our next big adventure?
Oh, his name is Putin. Did I just say that? I freaking just did, didn't I? He never stopped playing.
There are modern day pirates.
Oh, he never stopped
off the coast
playing.
of Somalia. Like, look at that one movie with Tom Hanks.
Oh,
Off the coast of Africa. There are modern day pirates. I mean, and it does happen. But, I mean, again, what's our next big adventure?
I don't know.
Do you know?
I like this one, and I think that you never know where this could lead, and you never know what tomorrow... I mean, there's always good adventures. I personally like the horse racing. I like horse races. It's like something
cool.
fun. I love it.
It's kind of cool. And I went to a random Mexican horse race, like on a farm.
They had the Sunland Park Derby this weekend.
I probably would have been good to go to. We were two. Yeah.
That's okay though.
And I mean, I know we were trying to keep a short format today.
Oh, I know.
I know you had stuff to do.
Yeah, I do.
I think that's a good place to probably leave off at.
I think so.
Anybody that's listening to us and even for us as an adult, what's your next big adventure? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
To make life interesting, to make life worthwhile. Get in the moment and start thinking about that adventure.
I love it.
That we let go of as children. Okay?
What's
your adventure going to be?
Oh.
And you don't have to answer that now, but what's your adventure going to be? And if next time we get online and you start telling me about scantily clad men and all that, I know you went big.
Yes.
So this was a short format today, and I know it's gonna be quick. And I know in the short format we want to touch a little bit about what's going on in the week to week with the news and all that, and talk about some current events. But
that's good.
I think it was a good place to leave out though. Off as.
Yes, I love it.
It was the next big adventure.
I love it.
I'm gonna really wrap my head around it. I've got one adventure already lined up, and we'll talk about that later.
I like it.
But you need to wrap your head around on that.
What my next adventure is.
And maybe we'll talk about that.
Oh.
Because that's something you and our fact checker, me, that's something we always talk about, the meaning of life, bringing meaning to what we're doing and trying to figure all that out. But I think interjecting that into our conversation about our goals and what we do, it could have a positive impact because it gives you a direction. It gives you life. You know, it's time well spent rather than time wasted.
Yes.
So, cool.
All right. I love it.
I love it. If you like it, I love it. Cheers.
Love it. Cheers. Cheers.
Cheers. And here's to my friend that went on, and you know, cherish the time you have with the people in your life.
Absolutely.
Cheers. You all have a good night. Ciao. Cheers. Bye.
Bye.